Today, fewer Americans say they trust science.
They don't trust science because science is increasingly untrustworthy.
Science writer Andrew Follett has analyzed research for NASA and the Energy Department.
The only group that trusts science right now is Democrats.
I trust the scientists.
Maybe that's because much government science is being misused by politicians. For example, some activists want to limit ocean fishing with something they call the Climate Solutions Act. It calls climate change the greatest threat to American national security and promises equitable solutions to every special group of victims. The administration's deputy director of climate told Congress that the bill will bring
exciting, urgently needed progress on climate change.
Jane Lubchenco cited this paper that made the remarkable claim that closing more of the ocean to fishing can increase catches of fish.
I saw oceans of opportunity.
But oops, the paper was retracted. One scientist called its logic biologically impossible. And it turned out the paper was written by Lubchenco's brother-in-law. But she never told Congress that, or that she edited the paper.
It's an egregious violation.
Her goal is to get the government to spend more on environmental regulation. And the party in power likes that. So they don't care if she just breaks the rules.
They could not care less. Her job from their perspective is to generate papers that rationalize and justify the regulations they want to impose.
The White House never punished Lubchenco for her ethics violation. In fact, after her testimony, she was appointed co-head of President Biden's Scientific Integrity Task Force.
We need to have scientific integrity.
Now, the National Academy of Sciences has banned her for her improper conduct. Yet she's still head of scientific integrity for the White House. Today's bad government science goes well beyond a few bad actors. A lot of what's called science today is just left-wing advocacy.
New fields like fat studies, African studies, Latinx studies, queer studies, these fields are essentially entirely fake.
Fake? Well, some of it's clearly fake because specialists in these fields keep being fooled by people who submit gibberish. This ridiculous paper, Embracing Fatness as Self-Care in the Era of Trump, was accepted by this university's Fat Studies Conference. It was written by this person.
Hello, I am C. Matheson.
The conference invited C. Matheson, who is actually comedian Steven Crowder, to speak via Zoom. Crowder disguised himself as a woman and did.
You may believe, wrongly as many people do, that fat is a threat to your life.
His speech was absurd.
Every scoop of Ben & Jerry's should be seen as an act of resistance.
But attendees gave him rave reviews. What a talk. They praised his presentation of Donald Trump's fat phobia and said this could be part of how we fight rape culture. After the conference, the head of the Journal of Body Weight and Society even asked C. Matheson to review a scientific paper. Crowder's just the latest person to pull off a hoax like that.
I have now closely considered the revisions of your manuscript, Dog Park.
These researchers fooled the journal Gender, Place, and Culture with a ludicrous paper on rape culture at dog parks.
And will recommend its publication in Gender, Place, and Culture.
In all, 7 so-called scientific journals accepted their ridiculous submissions. Follett blames this perversion of science on the government.
The government wants to generate that kind of nonsense.
Now, the government doesn't want nonsense studies, but its science agencies, like much of America, have been taken over by leftists who want to promote their agenda and themselves. And in science, you promote yourself by getting papers published.
Important papers can advance careers, generate media interest, and secure essential funding.
And government provides most of that funding.
Nobody wants to publish something that goes against what the paymaster says.
You don't get the tenure track position unless you get published. And you don't get published unless...
You don't get published unless the NSF likes your results.
Or the NIH, or the CDC. That's how bad science gets published.
There was this paper, well funded by the National Science Foundation,
and said that glacier science is sexist.
Because the majority of glaciological knowledge that we have today stems from knowledge created by men about men.
Our National Science Foundation gave her research team almost $500,000.
It's our tax money paying for it. I'm ticked off.
They're giving it out specifically to promote their agenda.
Wrong as this is, I don't think most Americans know or care that people in government now use your money to promote progressive nonsense.
I mean, I think we'll all start caring when the bridges start falling down and the planes start crashing. That's the inevitable end result of this.